Hey guys, so today this is actually a picture of a finished map that you're going to be making today, but no worries, we're going to go through how we're going to make this map step by step. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to title your map. So right up here, I want you to title your map, and this is what I want you to call it. So we're going to title the map. So on your paper, you're going to write down this is the physical and human geography of the United States throughout history. So what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to review geography again like we did last week. So we're going to make another map and we're going to talk about the physical and human geography of the US throughout history. So we're not going to be talking about the economy this time or how they make their money. We're just going to be talking about the physical geography. So the land, right? How did we get some of this land? And where exactly are some of these things placed on the map? And then when I'm talking about human geography, I'm talking about the people that live there and how the people are affected in the areas or in these regions, okay? I'm going to go through this kind of fast in the video, but what I want you to do is I just want you to push the pause button, okay? If I move too fast, go ahead and hit the pause button right now so you can copy your title down, okay? Because we're going to title the map, Physical and Human Geography of the U.S. Throughout History. Remember, I'm talking about physical, the land and where it's placed on the map, and then the human geography, the people that live there and how the people are affected in these areas or regions. Again, I'm going to move on, but you can pause if you need to, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to kind of start at the beginning, when the United States started. So we're going to start all the way over here, and we're actually just going to kind of work our way this way. But we're going to start all the way over here with the colonies. So what I want you to do right now is go ahead, you see where my purple lines are? I want you to go ahead and mark out the original 13 colonies. Now remember, right here, this purple line right here is kind of where our barrier was. They stopped at the Appalachian Mountains. And then here is our barrier for our southern colonies. And then between our middle and New England colonies. So what I want you to do right now before I zoom in, because I'm going to zoom in on this area in just a second, okay? But I want you to go ahead and draw this purple line, draw the Appalachian Mountains, and then draw these two lines right here. Southern to middle, and the middle to the northern or the New England. Now remember, this is the original 13 colonies. This was even before the United States was the United States, right? This was just when people were starting to explore and colonize our country. Okay, so I'm going to now zoom in a little bit. Remember, you can pause if you need to, or you can rewind and pause if you need to. All right. So let's first talk about the New England colonies. Let's fill in what's all about the New England colonies. So they were obviously up here in the north. Part of our geography of the New England colonies, remember, were our natural harbors, which means a lot of ships could come in and out of there. And then the people that lived there, remember the people of New England, they were really religious, right? Very strict in their religion. You had to follow their religion or you were going to get kicked out, or you were going to get persecuted or picked on. So New England, here's where it's placed on the map. These were our New England colonies. Part of our geography is we had natural harbors, so we could get ships in and out. And our people there, remember, a lot of them came for religious freedom, but they were very, very strict with their religion. Remember, they were the Puritans, and you had to be a Puritan or you got kicked out, or you got persecuted, or picked on. Again, you can pause if you need to, okay? Now let's talk about the middle colonies, right? The middle colonies. Now, the people there, they were known for their religious tolerance, right? So what does that mean when you're tolerant of something? Think about that for a second. That's right. You accept them, right? Whenever you are tolerant of somebody, your religious tolerance, that means they weren't picky, right? They accepted everybody and they accepted all people. They were tolerant. They allowed all religions, okay? So remember, this was in the middle colonies. So make sure, guys, you're labeling that. And then the last part of our 13 colonies are going to be our southern colonies. Remember the thing about the southern colonies, about the people? We had slavery, right? We grew tobacco. We had lots of farmers, lots of plantation owners who used slaves as their slave labor. So make sure we fill in southern colonies. And for our human geography, we're going to put slavery. So let's kind of do a review. This was the original 13 colonies. So make sure we've labeled here our barrier with our Appalachian Mountains. You see my little mountains right there. We have our New England colonies with our natural harbors and our really strict religious people. We have the middle colonies, which actually were more tolerant, right? They had religious tolerance, which means they accepted everybody over here. And then we have the southern colonies where we had our slaves. So we're just going to kind of keep moving along. We're going to keep moving west as the United States starts acquiring more land or more territory, okay? So what I want you to do now is I want you to draw the Mississippi River. So if you look on your map, it kind of starts right up here. And I want you to just draw. It starts right up here, and it goes all the way north to south, the United States, from the top all the way down here to the bottom, down here to New Orleans. Okay, so go ahead and draw the Mississippi River and label it down here for me. M-I-S-S-I-S-S-I-P-P-I, River. Mississippi River. Kind of color it in kind of dark because this is really important, right? It's our next barrier of our land. So you guys, who remembers where we got this land from? When did we get this land? I want you to think about that for a second. Think if you can remember. Now, let's label this the Treaty of Paris 1783, because that's when we got this land. So remember, we got this right after the end of the American Revolution. And who did we break away from? Who did we gain our independence from? From Britain, or Great Britain, or England. There are several words that they use for that. And this was called the Treaty of Paris, 1783. So make sure we fill all of this in. So after the Treaty of Paris in 1783, this was the end of the American Revolution. Now the entire United States goes from the Mississippi River all the way this way, east. So it goes from the Mississippi River all the way east to the Atlantic Ocean. Remember, you can pause if you need to in order to fill this out a little bit more. All right, so let's see where we're at. So we've done this area right here so far. So right now, we have the Mississippi River right here, and all of the United States is now from Mississippi this way to the Atlantic Ocean, all right here. Now we're going to focus on how and when did we get the middle part of the United States. All right, so that's where we're going to move to next. We're going to keep moving west, moving on west to the middle part of the United States, okay? So let's go back. Go ahead and I want you to draw this purple part because it's a little easier to see the purple part or our barriers when it looks big in the map. So all I want you to draw now is go ahead and draw this little purple line for me right here. I'm going to start here kind of by New Orleans. I'm going to come all the way up. It's okay if it's not perfect. Draw me some little squiggly lines all the way up, and then maybe just kind of go over, okay? Then this little line right here, I'm going to start up here. I'm just going to draw me a line from the top all the way down south. From the north, the top, all the way down south to kind of give me this barrier over here. Okay, oops, there we go. So I drew this line. Kind of came over. It's okay if it's not perfect. Went from the north to the south, so I'm going to draw this little line right here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write in my Rocky Mountains. Right here, we put our Appalachian Mountains in way over here. Let's make sure we include the Rocky Mountains. Right here. Now we're going to fill in this area. Okay, once we get all this drawn out, we're going to be able to fill in this area right here. So let's remember. This area, remember, was the Louisiana Purchase. This happened in 1803. Bonus points if you can remember what president made the Louisiana Purchase happen. That's right. It was Thomas Jefferson. So, remember, the Louisiana Purchase happened in 1803. We acquired, oh guys, I spelled that wrong. That should be A-C-Q-U-I-R-E-D. All right. So we acquired this land, which means we got this land from France. And after we did that, this is a huge, vast piece of land. Remember, it doubled the size of the United States. So we had no idea what was out here. So Thomas Jefferson sent, remember, Lewis and Clark to explore this new territory. Okay. So this huge piece of land mass doubled the size of the United States. We acquired this land from France. It's called the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. What type of people then here lived in the West or in these regions? What type of people besides Lewis and Clark explored this region after we got it? Well, we have people of the West. So we have those people called mountain men, which kind of basically sounds, it is exactly like it sounds. Men who lived in the mountains, who like to hunt, who like to trade furs, right? I always think of a guy with like a big like raccoon skin hat on. Those are the mountain men. And then we had the Mormons. They were a religious group that were trying to escape persecution. And then we have missionaries, people who came out here, religious people who were trying to spread religion to the Native Americans that were out here in this area. And then, of course, down south here, make sure we write in Texas, the Texas annexation of 1845. Remember, when we annex something, we add it on. We bring it in, just like the annex in our building, right? The annex at Parkview, that was added on later. So whenever you annex something, you add it in. Texas was added on to the United States. That's why we call this the Texas annexation. All right, guys. Oop, let's not forget Florida. We got to go back a little bit, and I want you to add Florida down here. Now remember, we took Florida from Spain. So remember, Florida we got from Spain. Now we're going to keep moving on. We're going to move on west. Now we're finally over here to the Pacific Ocean, where we're going to move on. So make sure, we should already have this line right here drawn. Let's make sure we have this little line here and then this little line here drawn as well. Okay. So the first thing I want you to write is how we got this little area up here. It's actually Oregon, part of Washington. So this was called the Adams-Onis Treaty in 1846, and we purchased this land from Great Britain. That's all you really need to remember or know, is this was the Adams-Onis Treaty, and we got it from Great Britain. Because of why? Because of manifest destiny, right? We thought the entire United States should go from east to west. So we purchased this land up here to finish it. Make sure you fill this in, okay? The next part we're going to look at is the Mexican Cession. This happened in 1848. Mexican Cession means Mexico ceded or gave up this land to the United States after the U.S.-Mexican War. So we acquired this land. We got it. Mexicans gave it up. Mexico gave it up. They ceded it, which means they gave it away after the U.S.-Mexican War. So let's think about who lives in this area right here. Who came to California looking for gold? Those would be the 49ers. Remember the California Gold Rush with the 49ers? Let's make sure we add that in. And then lastly, we have this little spot down here, this little sliver is called the Gadsden Purchase. So we bought this land in order to finish off the Transcontinental Railroad, which is a railroad that stretched the entire